to a completely unique and completely bizarre Madaxeman podcast. It's been recorded in the field, and sometimes quite literally in fields, quite often in bars, I think on a ferry, in an Airbnb, all sorts of things, covering the trip to Normandy, Caen, we went to Bayeux, and then we actually played Toy Soldiers as well, just in the Havre. Myself, Dave from the podcast, and a special guest on this trip, Mike Bennett, as well. So the audio quality is, because it's recorded in the field, can be a bit patchy, but hopefully that's entertaining almost because of that. So sit back and enjoy the podcast.
This means war.
Well, good morning and welcome to what may be a successful or maybe a disjointed and partly successful on the road podcast here. I'm sat here in my kitchen. It's just creeping up to 7 o'clock in the morning. I missed the dawn chorus. The clocks haven't changed yet, so it is sunny outside actually. It's a clear blue sky day, and I'm just waiting for the call from Dave and Mike to say that they've arrived at my local tube station and hopefully have ordered a coffee for me before I jump in my car, head off to pick them up, and we all head down to the south coast to catch a ferry and do our own version of recreating the Normandy Landings, and I think also the Norman invasion in reverse, as we head off to an ADLG competition just in a suburb of Le Havre, one of those faceless suburbs with, I'm sure, a school and a school hall where we will be playing, or a community centre of some sort that they do tend to have in mainland Europe, scattered all over everywhere. But before that, there's probably quite a lot of travelogue to go. So the aim of the game is to try and record some clips of audio music as we go along the way, and a bit of chit chat, probably some sound of clanking glasses and meals. But and with that in mind, it looks like my toast has just popped up, so I better probably end this first section of the podcast and sit back and listen, and let you listen to the next bits.
This means war. This means war.
Right. God, we've got laughter.
People start giggling just because we're sitting down to talk.
Yeah, we've got a laugh track. How about that? So we're sat here on a ferry. We're in the middle of the channel, recreating what I guess Vikings would have done in reverse, Normans would have done in reverse, and Allied soldiers would have done in 1944. But on a
43 going to
43 to Dieppe as well.
Canadians
as well. On a to Dieppe, literally to Dieppe, but probably not on a DFDS ferry.
No,
I suspect, with a couple of pints, and 3 pints in fact, and a fairly thinly populated ferry, which I guess is lovely. And we're going to be braving French motorways at some point fairly soon, which may well be covered in sort of strikes and burning goats and tractors and things, but c'est la vie, that's France for it. But Dave and Mike are here. Hello everybody.
Hi guys. Hello.
Morning all. And we've just got to thinking, none of us Mike, you've played in France once in the last few years.
Last year I played in Limets on our way home from Spain.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it's about 10 years ago, around Lille and Amiens, and that playing
DBM or something. God. And me and Dave played
more than 10 years ago.
Saumur.
We played Saumur, which was Brexit vote day, which must have been 2016.
No, was that?
That was
yeah?
No, because we.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
Because we woke up in the morning to drive down to the ferry, and we were like, "Oh my God, this has actually happened."
Yes.
And then we were waiting for the shuttle, and then Cameron resigned, and then we got to the other side of the channel, and something else had happened. It was just nuts. But so it's a long time since we played in France, so it will be interesting to try and see what the French meta is, I guess. But if that's a thing in ADLG, but so we're in a competition this time that is themed for our ancestors, which is basically an excuse to get the Normans out, really. And there's an interesting list of armies that they've counted as our ancestors. I think
that's the Norman
French
ancestors,
the Norman French
rather than our.
Yeah, there wasn't any ancient Brits in it, but the ancestors and the family and the extended family of the Norman French. So what have we got, Dave? We got What armies are in it?
Because my family claims to be Norman heritage.
Okay.
Because the name Saunders is a shortened form of Alexander. Alexander, Saunders.
Right. Okay.
And apparently my family are from the islands, from the Channel Islands.
From the Channel Islands. You're a
Yeah.
Guern. You might be a Guern. or-
Yeah. But
you could be a
there's also
Crapo.
a lot of Saunders are actually Scottish
Okay.
derivation of
Right.
Alexander, Saunders.
So as an expert on the Channel Islands,
Yeah,
that means
so-
you're either a Crapo or a donkey.
No idea what
no.
you're on about now.
No, there you go. Let's see. It depends whether you're from Jersey or Guernsey. You're either a Crapo or a donkey.
Okay.
I think that it's Guernsey donkeys and then Guernsey people called Jersey people Crapos, which is just a little bit more rude, but that's the way it works. But so we've got there's about 30 people in this competition.
30 people that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing Serge Renier and Fifi Bon, who I've not seen for a long while.
Excellent.
So that's going to be
Which
fantastic.
we're
to see
told
some-
they're drinkers.
Some bad drinking buddies.
Shows Mike has been playing war games a lot
Yeah.
longer than
Exactly.
us.
Yeah. So,
So, should we read out the runners
Yeah,
and
let's-
riders? Well,
let's
we haven't
go.
got runners and riders,
but we've got armies, haven't we?
so 30 players. We've got 3 thematic Byzantine.
Can you
or
do it in a French accent, Dave?
Byzantine thematique.
Maybe not. Maybe do the English version.
Then we got Byzantine Nicéphorienne 2.
Duh.
Les deux. Franc Carolingienne les
Deux.
deux. Viking les dons les trois.
Le Dong. I like it. Le Dong.
Le Dong.
Big
Yeah.
dongs.
The big Le Dong.
Russes.
Russes.
Les Russes.
The Russes.
Les
Yeah.
deux.
Yeah.
Normans 5.
There's got to
Norman
be, haven't there?
armies.
Got to be 5.
5. It's in the competition in nights. Then
This
we've
is our
got-
favourite.
This is the best one. We have 1 Anglo Danus.
No, Danus, I
Danus.
think.
Is
Double O S at the
Is
end.
that the yogurt?
I think it is a yogurt, yeah.
No,
Yogurt.
An Anglo Danus yogurt.
1 Gallois Fetois, feudal French.
Feudal French, I guess, yeah.
Feudal
French.
1 Écosse des Îles.
No, 3.
Irlandais. Oh no.
Scots, Isles and Highlanders.
À la trois. Scots and Islands. That's
Go Macbeth.
Vikings.
Is that the old alliance then,
It's
coming up or
Vikings.
something?
It's
The
Vikings.
Oud alliance.
So no, lots of the Vikings, all the Orkneys and Shetlands
Yeah.
and Manx is all Viking.
Is it French? Well,
No,
whatever. Our
it's
ancestors.
Viking though. The Viking.
I guess so, yeah. True.
Then we got
Macbeth and all the Lord of the
les
Islands.
trois royaumes de Sicile.
That's not bad actually. I thought there might be more of those Sicilian Normans, but
Well, we
but it's
just
good there's
discussed
only
it.
3. Yeah.
I don't think they should be allowed. But no, I think they should
Yeah.
be only to a certain date.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Maybe.
I think there should be a date range because it becomes quite medieval. Anyway, that's another
Okay.
story. Then 1 Italian commune.
Oh, well,
I
that's
suppose-
not a bad army, is it?
Well,
It's
the
not bad.
papacy,
Yeah.
your old.
No, they're
the
fighting.
Normans,
They're
the
fighting the
Normans.
Sicilian Normans.
Yeah, well.
Or the Sicilian Normans when they
so
captured Sicily.
Robert Guiscard
Exactly.
and
True.
Tancred and Bohemond.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another story. 1 Royaume de Tape, so the
Typha Kingdoms of
Typha
Spain.
Kingdoms. You've
Spanish.
missed out the Byzantino
Comnenes.
Comnenes. Yep.
Comnenen Byzantine, that's a proper good army because
Yeah.
the Normans fought them a lot. 1 Berber.
Well, obviously that's a wonderful list.
1 Berber, which is really disappointing.
Yeah.
It's Tim winning in.
I would have thought I'd just popularised that list, but
And
then again, I'm
then
not
we've got
bringing
the
it.
ringer.
The ringer.
The one we're all wanting to play.
Yeah.
Tribu d'Amérique du Nord.
So North American
Tribes,
Indians,
yeah, nothing
Yeah,
tribes.
something like that. We should
So
be
that's
bonkers.
Vikings.
Yeah.
That's Leif Erikson.
Leif Erikson meeting the
Harold Adrada is across the Atlantic.
across the Atlantic.
To the.
So all right. So Mike,
Vineland.
which one of those is yours, and which one of those are you worried most about facing?
So I've got Sicilian Norman.
Yep. So
or
you've gone for
Sicilian
the
Kingdom of Sicily.
you've gone for the Rolls Royce army that's not Nicephorians, then I guess.
I think so, probably.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to face a supported spear.
No. So the Russes is your kind of.
And the Berbers.
And well, it depends how you do the Berbers, but yeah, there's a reasonable amount of supported spirit if it gets done
Do
in
the
that.
Typha Kingdoms get some support spear?
Yeah, it's Typha Kingdoms is a Berber
No,
army.
South Africans don't get supported spear. They're
Don't they?
unsupported, I think I find.
I think there's some. I think it's
We think you
I
might
don't know.
have
It might,
black
I
to
think
the
it's. I
Black
thought it's a
Guards.
Berber. No, I think
Oh,
it's
yeah, possibly you have a couple, but you can't have that many, I don't think.
I also thought it's a Berber army with
Hold on,
Almugavars, but or maybe see.
You
It
can
gets
talk.
four. Typha gets 4. El Cid and 4.
Okay,
four good
Knights.
knights.
Yep. And then the rest of it. So you're hoping to avoid. So that means your army relies on a lot of charging knights, even though it's Sicilian kingdoms, because that can be quite a tricksy list with all sorts of clever
You can
shit.
have Almugavars, you can have spear, you
Yep.
can have supported crossbowmen.
I don't agree with you.
But it sounds like you're very much on the charging knight front.
I've got knights and light troops.
Okay.
I know I've got a heavy cavalry impact to chase any heavy cavalry away.
Right. Oh,
So
okay,
give me a
then.
chance of catching any skirmishing
So
cavalry.
you're hoping to be in Le Bar quite quickly then, and
This army's going to use lots of manoeuvre and skill.
yeah, of course
To
it
stand
is.
shoulder to shoulder and ride forward.
And ride forwards.
I
Right.
think
Okay.
you and I played, Tim, and it took about an hour to get the game over.
Yeah,
and done
yeah, it
with.
was very tricky,
And that
yeah.
was top table, final game of the weekend.
Yes,
wasn't it?
that could have been it. Definitely.
Right,
Yeah. One
Time
of those.
for Kingdoms.
Okay.
12 heavy spear with support.
Ah, so Tie for Kingdoms.
I was
does
slightly
it.
wrong then.
12.
Okay.
Just 12 wrong.
Only 12.
Right, okay.
Mind you, you can downgrade them to mediocre and get more.
And get even more. So
Okay,
Tie
I
for
don't-
Kingdoms might be a problem for you as well.
Because they
then.
got knights, so they're even worse. Because they've got a bit of manoeuvre as well.
Probably
as
got
well.
better knights.
This
than it.
implies that some of the 30 Frenchmen that we've never met before, apart from the two you've met in the park,
Think the same way as we do, which is
who
interesting.
Are really sophisticated and gone incredibly sophisticated. Gone. We are expecting those are Norman knights.
Yeah.
Les cavaliers
Yeah.
de Normandy.
Caballeros.
We will have we'll bring the spear with rear support.
We'll
What's
do the
rear
counter.
support?
Soutien.
Soutien.
I
Soutien.
don't know if it's soutien de l'arrière, but soutien support.
Soutien.
We don't want any soutien de your l'arrière.
This is going to be very important to my army this
Okay.
weekend.
Soutien de la arrière.
Soutien.
Soutien, I would say.
Soutien. Okay.
Quelle horreur! Mes Vikings
Right.
avaient le soutien.
Soutien. So you've got Vikings then,
C'est
Dave?
Plus, hein?
Because I think Mike's told us everything there is to know about his army. It's knights and light horse.
Yeah,
And
I've got
but
Vikings.
Dave, talk us through Vikings. What's
Well,
the theory
it-
on
it-
Vikings?
It was a very cunning choice to come with the army which I've just painted.
Okay, that's cunning. I like it.
If I was really being cunning, I would have gone for the Rus, which is spear with rear support, and Huskars.
And Huskars with Vikings, yeah.
But I'm like an idiot. I've come with heavy swordsmen with rear support, which means when the Norman knights hit me, they're 2, I'm 1, and I have soutien to
Deal with the risk, yeah.
hopefully. But I'm explaining this to French people who don't
Yeah.
speak any English, and I don't speak very French. Non, vous avez le deux.
Le deux.
Je suis mais,
Avec
après le combat,
Yeah.
je suis soutien.
soutien, rear support.
Oh, rien.
I must admit, if you look at normally I wouldn't take spear, but if you look at the vast number of impetuous foot, spear are looking a very clever choice to
No,
have.
it does. I think there might be a T-shirt with "Je avec le soutien," possibly. That might be the.
J'avais le no, see, this is
J'avais,
my problem. My
je-
French is so bad. Everything I say is in
I had, I mean, I-
imperfect.
In perfect tense.
The only tense I understand in French is imperfect. So I was having rear support.
I did rear support.
I was having rear.
I was having rear support.
I was rear
See,
support.
the benefit of modern French though is you don't need to learn the grammar
Okay.
because you don't pronounce the last consonant.
Okay.
So the je and the il sound the same.
Mhm.
You don't bother learning the nu and the vu because now for vu you use tu, and for nu you use on, and therefore everything, and so everything sounds the same when you say it.
Okay. All right.
So you never say vu, never say nu.
It's
For
just
vu say tu,
Two.
and for nu say on,
Oh.
and then
Okay.
you use the il and the je all sound the same when
Okay,
you.
yeah. So
Wow.
nous en
Is that
arrivons.
woke French or something, or is that a whole different world?
I wouldn't know
As in-
woke,
as
would
in-
I?
We're
I
not.
come from
No,
Essex.
yeah, we're not going
As
there.
in nous en arrivons
Yeah.
en France.
Yeah.
On arrive en France.
Wait,
Nous-
on
on
arrive
arrive
en
en
France.
France.
I don't say nous arrivons, and have to learn how to say
Yeah.
nous.
On arrive.
On arrive.
On arrive.
On arrive is conjugated the same as
N'est-ce pas?
il.
N'est-ce
Okay.
pas?
So you've only got to know the il. And the il and the je, if the je is je vois, V-O-I-S, and il, V-O-I-T, but given you don't pronounce the S or the T, je vois, il voit, they sound the same.
It sounds perfect. I think we're learning a lot more on this podcast than we normally do.
Is there a French chat GPT?
Is there Le Chat GPT?
Yeah, it's-
I might need it as
With,
I've been
with a
using
special War Games ADLG supplement.
Oh, that's-
What's GPT?
Chat GPT's the.
it. Oh, it's the new AI thing. It's
You don't know
all my
about
battle
this?
reports
No,
are being
I'm
written
too
by
old.
it.
I'm being encouraged to use it.
Okay.
Oh, it's all nonsense. But so Mike,
Working?
go. Yeah,
Tim's done his battle.
I've done a battle report
reports
with it, but
in Chat GPT.
bits of it. But Mike, your figures. So are these figures that have come out of a old? Because this is a really
Out of the tool shed.
difficult theme to scrape these. Some of these armies just don't go into a normal theme.
Well,
But
I wanted to use the early version, but I haven't
Yeah.
got any Norman knights.
okay.
And I've got a load of the knights in the surcoats, which for me
Yeah.
is the classic era for
Yeah.
knights anyway.
Yeah.
All painted by Colin.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
So I've got a
Yeah.
load of
Sweet.
them, and so that's great. So
Good.
I couldn't go because I would have gone Robert Guiscard era.
Yep.
because I just I mean, also if you read the John Julius Norwich stuff on the Empire and the Sun and that, 200 or 300 Norman knights captured all of Italy, captured all of Sicily. So
and you were hoping they could capture a trophy in Le Havre.
Exactly, so that's such an inspiring, but I haven't got the right knights for that. But I do
Okay.
love the Serco ones. So
Okay.
it's basically all Serco
Good.
figured knights.
So this is getting
with a great
some-
helm and the classic, what people think of as, what I think of as a knight.
Well, it's good so you're getting some of Colin's stuff out on table, which is lovely. That's really sweet. That's good. So there's some real proper stuff about what armies are there, and I think from my point of view, I've gone exactly the same philosophy of get stuff on table that never really gets an outing, and it's using classic Normans. I rebased a load of them during lockdown, along with all my Vikings and all my Dark Age stuff. Totally rebased them and tarted them up a bit. And there's actually some pictures of the knights I've got are in the ADLG rulebook. Ooh.
So that's my big problem. Once we've got the house built,
Yep.
I've got to rebase all my armies, but then I've got to also sell all Colin's armies. So
Yeah.
I suspect rebasing my armies is a long, long way down.
Well,
the
you know,
queue.
you could integrate the two because, rebasing, and if you get a rebasing technique that works, that's the problem. I've got a rebasing technique now that's much better than the one I started with and much quicker, but I don't want to go back and redo all my old stuff, so just the medieval stuff gets done in the new technique. But yeah, so it's using a load of Two Dragons Normans with really cool shields and stuff that I think are in the I think they're in the army list. There's like a block of 6 bases of knights in the army list to use a proper Norman army, just to charge with a load of knights and some spears next to it, a Breton ally, which is sort of the only way you can do the Norman list, I think. And it's one of those armies that people have been asking about. We've been talking about doing a podcast about the Norman armies, just because almost with the theme
So
of
many variation.
well, there's the Sicilians and stuff have got so many more toys. It's almost like, why would you ever use the traditional 1066 Normans?
Because the armoured spear.
Possibly the armoured spear, that's the advantage, but it's almost like you look at it and go, if I want to use an army a bit like that, there's always a better version of it. But
I think the Sicilians are really good, and when you allow,
Yeah.
and even if you allow a 2-list tournament, the Sicilians have got 3 or 4 good lists in there. They've got an Almogar
Which is why it's a
version,
little bit
they've got the
wrong.
mixed bow
Yeah.
version, and they've got the heavy knight version.
yeah.
So there's at least 3 good
Yeah.
and very different armies in there. So it's a great army for a 2-list tournament, as you
If
say.
you-
So why would you take box standard Norman?
Yeah.
When that's available.
Yeah.
If you're really talking about Normans in Sicily, which is this is supposed
Yeah,
to
it
be,
should
I would
be
say
earlier.
there should be a date range which doesn't allow the first Holy Roman Emperor, which brings in the Spanish and new things. But it's fine.
Yeah.
Personally, if I wanted to go competitive, I'd probably use the Sicilian Normans and taking the Almogavars myself.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I feel told off for taking a collective
well,
army at this point.
Well, I was really
We're going to find out you've got 8 Almogavars for tomorrow.
Of course I have. I've not told you the truth about my own.
Of course
Because
not.
you might play me.
It
You
might
might
be
play
the
me on
draw.
Saturday.
Might be the
Suspect you
draw.
won't play me tomorrow, but you might play me on Saturday.
Yeah, well, no, I doubt I'll be playing anybody after Saturday. Not with my crappy Viking army.
Yeah. Well, as we chug along on the sea, maybe we can see a longship off in the distance or something like that, trying to overtake our ferry. So we've still got a few more hours to go. But no, it's going to be entertaining. We hit France at 4 o'clock.
Hit the beaches.
We hit the beaches. We'll be out there in Dieppe, isn't it? Yeah.
Dieppe, all right. Dieppe's
Just by the submarine ponds or something, are they?
I've got
Pools?
weird memories of Dieppe from when I was about 10 or 11 years old.
Okay.
In the seafront in Cafés.
But when you were in the Canadian Armed Forces?
No,
not
not
that
that
long ago. No.
late
Okay.
60s,
Yep.
early 70s.
Yeah. And then, in fact, there's still quite a lot of road to cover before we get to the competition, is it? Because we've got an evening meal this evening, somewhere nice, hopefully. Possibly.
The roads are really quick.
The roads should be really
They've
quick.
Dug up the bocage.
Yeah, true. They've dug up the bocage. We're not going to get stuck by pack 40s.
Just hoping there's going to be no farmers blockading the roads.
exactly.
And petrol will still be for sale in
Petrol might
France.
still be for sale.
Although Tim's planned ahead and filled up with English petrol.
Filled up with English diesel.
Diesel. Better to fill up with diesel than petrol in his car by the
No,
sound of it.
absolutely. It gets us some good mileage. And then
There's a good place on the way. Fécamp.
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 F-E-C-A-M-P.
Fécamp. Right.
Which
Okay.
is one of the first villages that I ever arrived in France. And
Okay.
my father
Right. Okay.
cycles from Dieppe to
Right.
Fécamp.
Okay.
And there's some really good gun emplacements on the cliffs.
Oh, I thought, because I was
Good
like worried
World
where
War
that was
II
going,
gun
but now it is good. It's got World War II gun emplacements.
It's like a Cornish fishing
Village with World War II
big
gun emplacements.
guns on the side.
That's just
It's like
perfect.
Brixham, that we
Brixham.
play quite often.
Yeah.
But you've got fucking,
So,
sorry,
no,
you've got big gun emplacements on
Big
the
German
side.
artillery positions.
I mentioned Cornish. They've got Cornish pasties on the French ferry.
They have, yeah.
But they haven't got a word for pasty in French.
No.
So they seem to use the same word for pasty as they do for sausage roll.
And culturally, that is just very weird, isn't it?
No.
No. It must make the menu at Le Greg's much easier to write, though, mustn't it? There's only one item on
If
it.
you ask for sausage roll, how do they know whether to give you a sausage roll or a pasty or what to give you? You can get the wrong thing.
How do you ask for HP sauce with your pasty?
Yeah, but if you ask for a sausage roll and you get a pasty, that's not a bad result, is it? Or the other way around, it's still pretty decent. You know, you can't really argue on that one. So
When I was asking the barman for lager avec lemonade, he went, what, you mean a shandy?
yeah, no, that's
So
good.
yeah, I do mean, and
That's
it actually
definitely
it does
worth
say shandy on the beer tag.
Okay, Le Shandy.
Yeah,
Possibly
it's,
Le Shandy.
or
Yeah.
La Shandy, depending.
Okay, yeah, well, what, you saying it's a ladies' drink?
No, I think it's Le Shandy.
Okay, good, yeah. I wouldn't want to be having a ladies' drink. That would be really slightly weird, but okay. Well, look, I think the duty free's open, so we better all rush off to that, and we'll reconvene when we're on the road, or possibly even when we arrive in Bayeux, because we've got a whole day still before the competition. So there's a bit of tapestry and a bit of Second World War malarkey to come as well. So we'll catch up after this musical interlude.
No, slices.
Slices,
Yeah.
slices.
Yeah.
And-
Slices.
Pavement, yeah.
No, it's Andouette cutting slices, so it is an Andouette.
Oh, cool. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm with you.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
slice. No, I think
Yes,
maybe we missed that kind of.
So I think you're going to find it is
Yeah.
the Andouette sausage type
Yeah.
thing, but I say, that's something, but he's a great speciality. He's got a great. I'm just going to suck this up and eat it. And
Well, that's the wrong
Did you
phrase,
eat all
isn't
of
it?
it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I think
Andouette, once to be tried, never eaten again.
No, I think maybe we'll skip the poo sausage, but I'm tempted by the menu at $35.90, which has
hang on, what's
got
that?
because then you could even have 12 snails and
Okay.
poulet Normandy or entrecôte and a dessert of good choice. It's like, you know, and as given there's a check tablecloth here and stuff like that.
I love steak tartare. And what's the other one? I can't my brain.
Right, yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for the fixed menu here.
Yeah.
But at some stage, what's the other sliced beef?
Carpaccio.
Carpaccio.
Yeah.
We was in Brussels, and at our European rep office.
Yeah.
And the guys that work the European rep office take the MEPs out,
fine.
so they know some decent restaurants.
Okay. Yeah.
And he took us into this restaurant and he said, we could ask for the menu. On the other hand, we could just ask the boss to give us what he thinks is good today.
Okay. That's
I
pretty cool.
listened to you and him.
Yeah.
Yep. And they had this octopus carpaccio.
Oh, octopus.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
really.
That's awesome.
I've
Isn't it?
never had octopus carpaccio before. I love octopus, but
Yeah.
and this was. You know, I've had the octopus in the pickles and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But this was really
Oh,
fine. It was really beautiful.
Beautiful.
And the whole meal was just stunning.
Oh.
It's nice when you go people like.
Yeah. So I guess it's well,
You want a bottle of wine?
standard red wine, isn't it? Yeah. Is there any reason not to have standard red
House
wine?
red,
Bordeaux Superior.
Merlot.
Well, you could have just
Cote de Rhone.
You could just
Cote
have
de Rhone, right?
Cote de Rhone, bit of a Cote de Rhone.
Cote de Rhone. €29 for a bottle of Cote de Rhone.
Cote de Rhone. Well, that's possibly it.
Cote
Cote de Blay, that's a different one. Summer? No, that's different summer to where we've been, isn't it? That's that could be it. Vin Rouge Cote.
Chateauneuf de Plat.
Actually, no, hundreds. That's
Yeah,
in the
that's all
carafe,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Cote de
all right.
Rhone
We
in the
want the
carafe.
right, yeah.
We want a litre.
That's a house.
We want a litre of house wine.
That's a
That's it. Yeah.
I've just signed up for a French conversation group in
Right.
Lancaster, and the guy that leads it.
So are you leading it, or are you
No,
just
no?
Okay.
The guy that leads it is a French guy.
Okay.
It might be nice to try and find just a group to do it, but it's
Yeah.
I've just found a guy that
Yeah.
organises it, and Ronnie's doing French lessons.
Okay.
And it's quite good because Ronnie says I'm a beginner, and they assume she's done 2 years of O level or 2
Yeah.
levels pre-O level. Of course, she's Australian, so
Yeah.
she did Indonesian and Japanese. She's never done French. So when she says she's a beginner, she
Zip.
hasn't got a word.
Absolutely zip.
So she's signed up for a French course.
So she's like Cote de Rhone.
So we've
What, g'day?
so I've signed up with the same guy who does this
Yeah.
conversational group, And we were just chatting. He came to England. He said he couldn't believe when he came to England. He sort of went to the wine store. What wine have you got? And he said he'd never virtually seen anything other than French wine in France.
His life. Yeah,
and then he suddenly came from where French wine was like 10% of it.
Yeah, it was just nothing.
But have you seen the stuff in France now about they're appealing all French parents and grandparents have got to do their national duty.
And drink more wine?
No. And
can we join in?
No, because the young kids are not being taught to drink wine anymore. And their national duty is to educate their children to drink wine and French wine and not beer and other stuff.
No, that may well be it, yeah.
So they're saying the French wine consumption is massively dropping, and that people are not, people are not passing on the habit onto their children.
Oh, God. Well, we can get the wine in. Dave, what are you thinking for starter? Because you've got onion soup. You've got soup and fish.
Onion soup.
Onion soup.
I'm very much an onion soup. It'd be onion soup with.
Do you reckon it's going to be cheesy top on top?
It might have some crispy bits.
Might have some crispy bits on top, yeah.
But not escargot. I haven't really.
No.
My friends eat escargot, but I haven't really got to that point.
Right.
That was my.
If I like the parsley sauce.
Yeah.
You
Well, that's all there is.
escargot.
That's all there is.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what the bread's for.
I had
A bit of snot with some parsley
Yeah.
sauce is not exactly my idea of fun.
I was at Grenoble, a War Games event on my birthday.
Okay. What army were you using? Oh, fuck. Oh, come on, you must remember.
No.
Surely, right.
No, this is like 20 years ago.
100 years ago, right.
20
okay,
years
fine.
ago. And so suddenly at the lunchtime, music goes on, out comes an escargot plate with a candle.
Oh, wow.
The Frenchman are going to watch while the Englishman has to eat a plate of escargot.
Yeah.
And of course, Julie said to me later, what do you think of it? Well, it was like a bit of jelly thing, but all I could taste was garlic and butter. And he said, yep, that's escargot.
That's exactly the plan. That's exactly what we're doing.
I might have to ditch Netflix.
You might go off the fixed menu.
So I might go for the.
Oh.
I do like the
Where's
beef.
the
It's
steak?
steak or poivre.
What's the big steak?
And then you
Steak
can have a
au
tarte
poivre?
tatin, and it's not actually much different. But I wouldn't miss out on the onion soup.
Well, is there not onion soup? You could have onion soup for another 6, 9 or whatever it is.
They've got €30.
They've got tarte tatin on
exactly.
Oh,
It's
you
not
get
exactly
anything.
going bonkers.
It's not exactly going bonkers, is it?
Probably-
No.
I think I can manage that.
Yeah, exactly. And if we're going to be seeing some German artillery bunkers tomorrow
But
and the
if,
Bayeux
but
tapestry.
if you're going to manage different to us, we have to do the detailed calculations to divide each of us into our own share of the bill, aren't we?
No, we're all adults here, Mike.
When,
This is the way
when we
this
were
works.
in Germany,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in Germany, they got the beer mats,
Yeah.
and they wrote down on your
Yeah.
beer mat
It wasn't
how many
actually
beers you
possible
had.
in Germany to
And
split
what
the
they-
bill 3
They're
ways.
not proper German matrices.
No.
No, but then the waitress came round and took your beer mat and sat there with a calculator and worked exactly.
No,
the
it
same.
should have been in your head.
They are not proper German. I've been in German restaurants. There'll be 20 feet at the table.
Yeah.
The waitress comes round. She does it all off the paper, all in her
Yes.
head.
Yeah.
You had that, and that. There.
Yeah.
You think, how the hell
Yeah.
can she do that? But they just.
No, it's all
incredible.
good. It's all good.
It was pretty weird.
It is pretty weird. Where are we now? We're in the Longueville-sur-Mer battery, German battery, of course, and we're out looking out over the Invasion Sea from an amazing bunker that must be, the concrete must be what, 2 meters, 2.5 meters thick. We're just looking out through a slit trench out over the
This
sea.
huge weight of concrete's held up by four
Rusty steel posts, so we might not be here too long. And we can barely stand up because the Second World War Germans must have been quite short, possibly. But after a day of visiting the Bayeux tapestry and watching skylarks.
Yes, skylarks were good. But
Yeah.
this bit of concrete's pretty bloody cool, isn't it?
This is amazing. This is like,
All the nights we were looking out of there on
yeah,
June the 6th, 1944.
There would have
a
been-
lot of ships coming over
the sea
the
was
road.
black with ships. Yeah,
That's that bit in the film, though, isn't it? The longest day, the black and white film.
Yeah.
The guys go,
loads of them. It's just so bloody many.
black and white.
yeah, that's one of the
Yeah, that's one of the last black and white films. Yeah, for sure.
It reminds me of the bit with Richard Burton as the wounded
Okay.
Spitfire pilot.
Right.
He's had his stomach's opened up.
Ah.
He says to the American paratrooper, he says, "Have you noticed anything about that dead German over there?" He was so surprised he's got his boots on the wrong way round. He's got the wrong foot and the wrong.
Oh my God, we call them out so much. But, yeah, and there's surprisingly little graffiti actually as well, which is unusual. Maybe there's still some graffiti cleaning, or because I find it hard to believe that people have got respect for this.
It's mostly in English, of course.
Mostly in English, yeah.
Gab plus James plus Sue. Pest.
Test, of course.
What the fuck does that
And
mean?
Ray was over there.
Ray was there, yeah, exactly.
Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Hello, Ray Lewis.
Yeah, Ray Lewis, if you're listening, we can see your graffiti
there's
still.
a-
In battery.
The usual penis and balls.
Yeah, but we've seen
Only one.
No, no,
We've
we've seen
loads
seen
of
more of
Bayeux
the
tapestry.
tapestry.
Yeah, that's a bit of the Bayeux tapestry that doesn't get covered much, does it? The old
Specifically seen as the Normans were riding stallions.
Yes, they definitely were riding stallions if
Yes,
you look up close.
definitely
Yeah,
riding stallions.
that seems to miss as well.
Look, there's some stairs down there.
All right, we better go down further into the bunker.
This means war. This means war.
Oh, scary. Well, Mike, that's a Grimbergen, old
Yep.
pint of. You've got an IPA, Dave.
Yeah,
and,
not sure what sort of IPA.
Exactly, could be any
Tigray Bock.
Tea-grey bulk, and we're
nice.
sat outside a bar, which is lovely, although a bit
the
park
rain.
in the rain, but there's a roof. There's some road noise, possibly, but we live with that.
But we're in the Southampton of France.
We're in the Southampton of France, in Le Havre, and we've done like a million things today.
9 a.m. into the Tapestry
Yeah, God,
Bayeux.
9 a.m. in the Bayeux Tapestry. It must be. Well, I was going to say no. It's actually 7 years since I went, and then probably a long time before that. But
And if it wasn't for the two groups of school kids, we'd have been the only people there, wouldn't we?
yeah, there's no one else actually proper visitors at all.
About 45 years since I last went there.
My God,
Longer.
longer.
More-
I've
yeah,
got to
but-
say, it's 49, I think, for me.
And it's still bonkers, isn't it?
It's
like
the same guy
yeah,
doing the talk
doing the voiceover.
as it was when I was a 10-year-old when I went to see it. It is
It's terribly,
exactly the same.
it's
isn't it?
terribly posh,
RP,
terribly charming,
received pronunciation.
very
accent.
received pronunciation in English, terribly posh. But it's just
really good.
it's just seeing those bits that.
We saw a lot of bits on that tapestry as well. I didn't realise they had naked
lot of horses.
horses bits and blokes bits.
Horse bits, blokes bits, yeah. There's some knob gags, stuff like that. It's amazing. But it's just seeing those pictures of like the king there on his throne.
It's like a movie, though.
Yeah.
It actually is like going to see a Disney cartoon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, because it is. That's what it is. It's a cartoon.
Yeah.
Of what happened in that battle.
And it said it was 70 metres long, and I looked at the chrono, thought that looks about 70 metres. Then it went round the corner, it was twice as long as I thought it was.
Yeah.
It was a long circle, it seemed a lot longer than 70
It's
metres to me.
enormous, isn't it? Yeah. But it's just but like a Disney cartoon. But
Yeah.
if you were seeing the original bits of artwork
Exactly.
from where people have painted in
Yeah.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs or something, you've got to keep pinching yourself to remember it's the real thing.
It's
It's
a real,
not.
so hear the history about how it was nearly cut in parts, and it was used to wrap around carts to transport goods around. The way it was
Yeah.
mistreated, but
Well,
it's
we
still
all-
here.
So easy. I mean, it just shows just how much stuff must have been lost.
Yeah.
To see that, which is made within 10 years. So we were just talking about the Alexander Mosaic in
in
Naples.
Naples.
Now that is from a painting which must have been done within 10 years of the Battle of Arbela. Well,
Yeah.
we get off subject.
No.
But because all the Macedonians are in Macedonian kit, and Darius is in proper, and that's what the reason that survived is because people, what we have is Roman representations of a picture
Yeah.
which was done within 20 years of the Battle of Arbela.
Yeah.
And the tapestry is exactly that. It's exactly contemporaneous.
Yeah. Which
And
is so rare.
So you get the haircuts
Yeah.
of the Normans with short back and sides.
Yeah, that was the bit.
And, yeah.
Those guys with the hair streaming backwards. There's so
Yeah,
many
yeah,
funny
yeah.
little bits that are actually.
But they would have found funny.
Yeah, they must
did
have
it deliberately.
the people sewing it together must have been taking the piss, basically. Go, we'll put this bloke with crazy hair, and then there's people with funny little expressions that you just don't see.
And Harold's got a moustache
Yeah.
and long hair.
Yeah.
Saxons are obviously Saxon.
Yeah,
Although in parts they're wearing the same
Yeah.
military uniform as the Normans.
yeah.
are.
No, it's just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And of course the knob gags and the people doing boos
Yeah, yeah.
in the little bits to the side, which is completely weird.
But no crossbows.
And no crossbows. And
But one of the archers was armoured.
one of the
Yeah,
archers
yeah,
was
yeah.
armoured, which I'm sure is good. And then we saw a mounted archer at the end.
Yes,
saw a
yeah, that
mounted
was
archer.
interesting.
That might be
yeah.
good.
So we need to revise the army list.
We need to-
That was
And
interesting.
two
Well, I
revisions
think he was
needed.
a Saxon though.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't. He was a
No.
Norman.
He was a Norman.
He's Norman
That was,
chasing.
that was
yeah.
chasing the defeated,
Yeah.
fleeing,
Yeah.
routed Saxon army.
But
wasn't
I
it?
still thought it was interesting looking at it, following it, and you're going, we've got so much wargamers received wisdom about feigned flight, It's become such a big part of stuff. Fame flight. They were up the hill. They stood up the hill. The fame flight. But if you follow the actual tapestry, it's like you could argue, or you could read it as saying the Normans took on the Huscarls first, the Hearthguard, whatever they are, and with the proper chainmail and the Norman shields and the helmets, and then sort of defeated them, and then the Field retreated up a hill.
Yeah.
And the Normans,
which is the famous apple tree.
yeah,
hill.
up a hill, and with some stakes or something at the bottom. And the Normans tried to do that, and then routed and broke. And that whole bit about William taking off his helmet and saying, "Look, I'm not dead," isn't feigned flight. It's actually
they were actually broken.
They were actually broken.
He turned them back, but that's a big argument.
And he turned around,
Yeah.
and then they came back and sorted it out with a lot of archery.
That route drew the Beard down the hill.
Yeah,
because
no,
at that point
it was real. It was a real
yeah,
route. It wasn't
another couple of hours, and Harold would have been holding the Normans off.
Might have got away with it.
That was
And
the
the
amazing.
world history would be completely
That was an
different.
amazing thing. Look, a 14-hour battle, did they say?
Yeah.
14 hours.
So it must have been
Wow.
literally from sun up to sundown.
In
pretty
October.
Much. In October, yeah, 14 hours in October. It must have been
Yeah.
the entire daylight hours or more.
It's bloody ridiculous, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So it's just mad to see the Bayeux, even though we know exactly what it's like. It's mad to see that.
But then afterwards, I was very because I'd set my heart on buying that Mirage cockpit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's just a shame that mad shop full of military was shut. Which there wasn't a mirror. It was the front end of a F-86 Sabre, I think.
Was it a Sabre?
It looked like a Sabre.
Like when I
was
say the
two-
front end, I mean like all of the front.
Which
really.
is my favourite films. It looks like the planes out of UFO.
Oh right.
So like
That's it with the yellow stripe.
Yeah,
on it as well.
So we
Yeah.
saw two shops with the front end of a jet fighter in.
Yeah.
One was shut and one was open.
Yeah, exactly. We did buy
They
it.
wouldn't sell it. Neither shop was
Neither
selling
sell
them.
it to us. No, that was sad. And
I'm
we
not
went
sure we
to-
could do it in the boot anyway.
trying to think what we did. We went to we did like loads of different.
Some
We went to a gun battery which wasn't the Merivale
German
battery.
gun battery.
It was what was it called?
Sulo-Sommer.
So the big one's Merivale or Merivale, but it wasn't
That's the
that one.
famous
But we
one.
went to Merivale and there's so many school kids in front of us. We gave up
We
waiting
gave
for that
up,
one.
yeah. But the actual gun battery we went to, which was just south, just on the coast,
Just
above
south of Armagh.
Armagh,
I've
just
got it here.
above
Hold
Armagh.
on. Coming up. Hold on.
Dig it up, yeah. But that had like what 4 or 5 big concrete bunkers.
Four big bunkers. One was a bit of a wreck, and the other three you wouldn't allow in because it was dangerous.
Yeah.
And 3 you could walk inside.
And they actually still had the guns with
Yeah.
like big shields and stuff like that in it. And they were a long way back from the coast as well.
Yeah.
Those were
They were
guns
on
too.
a Long-Sur-Mer.
Long-Sur-Mer, that was it.
Batterie de Long-Sur-Mer.
Yeah,
but
which
it's
was great.
They were actually on the cliffs.
Yeah, well, no,
No, but they were
on the
like 100
top of-
metres back
Yeah.
from the cliff, so
At
they
least, yeah.
couldn't look down. They could fire a long way out to sea, but they couldn't. They wouldn't have got much depression down onto things.
Well, none at
But
all.
Once you got
None at
in
all.
close,
Designed to take on shipping
Yeah.
in the channel
Yeah.
before they got close to
Yeah, exactly.
either
Yeah.
of the beaches. Because
Yeah.
if you're looking out from the batteries, to the left is Omaha,
Yep.
and you'd actually wonder if they had the turning circle to fire into Omaha.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I'm not sure they would, and
There
they
must have been
wouldn't have
other
been able to
bits.
shoot it. They certainly wouldn't have been able to
No.
shoot into
No. The other one.
gold,
sword
judo,
or
sword.
whatever.
and then we saw one of the last place we went to that was shelled by Warspite and Ramillies.
Oh, yeah.
And that was great because my uncle served on Ramillies in the Second World War.
Yeah, but we because it's all very
I
close.
didn't know that.
So we did Aramanche, but the Aramanche Museum is shut at the moment because it's
Yeah.
been refurbed, which is a shame. But we did see some of the concrete blocks in the harbour.
and a
And
Sherman.
a Sherman, of course.
A French
There's
Sherman.
always, there's always a Sherman
Saw
everywhere.
2 M3s.
2 M3s, half tracks. And then where else did we go? We
Pegasus Bridge.
Pegasus Bridge.
We
Yeah.
saw the museum at Pegasus Bridge,
The museum.
and we saw
And
the
Pegasus-
M3 and
Pegasus Bridge has been moved.
Yes.
So it's no
lots
longer
of them found.
Pegasus Bridge doesn't go over the river anymore, but they kept it anyway.
But that was also the other thing there that was interesting was there was a couple of the Bailey's bridges. It turned out two of the Bailey's bridges were still in use after the year 2000 when they were replaced by modern. So they've been in use for 50 years.
Which is nonsense. isn't
Mulberry
it?
Harbour's still there at
Bits and
Aramanche.
bobs, bits and bobs of it.
I think it's the same bits that were
Yeah,
there
I
50
suppose it
years
probably
ago
was,
when
yeah.
I visited.
Yeah, when I went
was
last as
shocked
well.
that they were still there 50
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah. No, it's
So
still there.
that's 100 years. No, it's
Yeah.
not 100 years. Is
Yeah.
it? It's getting on for 100
Yeah.
years.
And then we did like all sorts of. We tried to drive along the coast, and there are some very strange towns in this part of Normandy.
Deauville, Trouville.
Trouville, and they're all kind of boarded up, but shuttered up with these big posh
I've no
sort of
idea what's
Swiss
going on. I think-
schlosses on the coast.
But
It
like
must
every-
be. It must be posh people who come here in the summer.
I think was posh in the 1870s.
Yeah, maybe.
I think that was the posh beach town. It's like when when the Edwardians went to Brighton.
Yeah, true.
That was their idea.
That's the Belle Epoque,
and also it's the horse racing stuff.
There's
going
loads
on,
of
like
horse
the
stuff.
British stuff.
Yeah. Maybe they trained them on the beach, perhaps, because there's a lot of beach thing. Yeah.
And now here we are in the English bit of France.
The English bit of France in Le
It's
Havre.
Le Havre.
Used
the
the
English until
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Calais was the last bit to fall, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. But Le
Engraved
Havre-
on Queen Mary's heart.
But there's Rodin's.
Yeah, don't tell that to anyone from Guernsey or Jersey, because
There's a
they're
famous
still there.
sculpture outside Parliament.
But they were never France, obviously.
Rodin's because Henry V was going to kill all
The seven burgers.
the seven burgers of. That's Le Havre, isn't it? Or is it Honfleur, Harfleur?
It could be.
It's Harfleur, Honfleur, just up the road.
Yeah.
Is where the English used to come and land to go in during the 100 Years' War, when they wanted to go into the landscape. So these are the English bits of France.
They are. And now we've just got to go try and find another. Because last night we had a pretty decent steak and chips, although, Mike, you had fish and rice. Fish and rice. Common rice.
Yep.
Steak
And France is terrible for my low carb diet with all this French bread and patisserie. He's got no chance.
Not a chance
And
at
I've
all.
had a couple of beers as well.
Yeah, that's
So-
about low carb beers.
Normal,
Low carb
yeah,
beers.
exactly, low carb beer.
Yeah.
Like when I'm more game in England, I have low carb curry, and low carb
I think
naan, and low carb rice.
I think the big advantage is we're probably far enough into this podcast that your missus will have turned off if she does try and listen, so you will get away with it. So that could be quite good. And we've just got to go out and find some meal tonight, and then we're actually playing Toy Soldiers tomorrow. which
Oh,
is
we've
hard
got
believe.
to.
Well, I suppose we do. You know, we can give it a go, and then let's see how that does. Otherwise, we're just going back on another thing, going to gift shops looking for biscuit tins that feature the Battle of
Yeah, we're
Hastings.
very disappointed because none of the biscuit tins are big enough for an army. They're all
Yeah,
quite
exactly.
small biscuit tins so
Yeah,
far.
you'd
If we
need
find
2 biscuit tins for an army,
Yeah.
but they're a little bit too big for a single command. Otherwise, you'd get 3, aren't they?
No, of course, if you want Julian's
But-
armies, you'd need 3 biscuit tins.
4, maybe 4.
I'll
Dave.
put it away. I've got one of those clicky things.
Yeah, you've got a clicker
I've got
from the
Pegasus
longest day.
Bridge.
From
You know,
longest
Oh,
day.
right,
You know,
the
crickets.
nighttime signalling
You know, the
clicker.
cricket thing
Yeah.
with the paratroops.
Yeah.
Apparently it's the same as the original ones with the piece
Yeah.
of metal. So
No.
I'm going to put that on my key ring
We'll
to annoy the fuck out of every competition.
Because the other thing
bring
I
it-
saw was I saw flick knives. Now I remember, of course, like when we were 13 and we came to France,
Yes.
flick knives were available in France and not in England. So this was the great thing. Who could buy a flick knife when you were 13?
Yeah. School teachers going, no, not going in that shop.
We've all had the same experience, haven't
Who
we?
could buy a flick knife? The answer is French people. That's it. Those cool French kids. That's the way it works.
Yeah, the clicker thing, that's going to be bane of everybody's life from now on.
That's going to be
You know, I've
good.
got
We'll
my own.
sneak it into later recorded bits over the course of this weekend.
Still, I don't like knives at the moment because I've just had underfloor heating installed.
Okay.
And one of the builders managed to drop his Stanley knife.
Oh no!
So the underfloor heating's in, the tiling's not on top. It's about 90% concrete
Yeah,
wall
it is, yeah.
and 10%
Rubber tube.
Rubber tube.
Oh no!
You can tell where this story's going, can't you?
Oh, God. In fact, isn't that one of the panels at the bottom of the Bayeux tapestry where someone drops a Stanley knife into the underfloor heating? That's the contemporary version.
I
of it.
would have given the guy a massive bollocking.
Yeah.
That's
But he was feeling so shitty and guilty about it that I couldn't
also-
have made him feel worse.
But also, he's clearly a very good aim if he ever throws a knife at
Well,
you.
the other thing I really appreciated was because he said, "I'm sorry, I've done it." Like,
Yeah.
I used to work somewhere where someone dug up a car park and it took our electrics out.
I thought you could say Richard III came out.
Dug up a car park and took our electrics out
Right.
for a week.
Yep.
Or for 2 days. And so about 2 weeks later, someone else dug the car park up and took the electrics out again.
Oh.
But that guy, because the previous guy got a bollocking,
Yeah.
filled it in and fucked off the other side of the car park. And it took us a week to fix that one because no one knew it happened and where it
Oh,
happened.
my
So at
God.
least this guy, he
Coughed
felt
up.
guilty as hell and he told us he'd done it.
Yep. Well, there were some quite guilty-looking people on the Bayeux tapestry as well, weren't there?
What I like was I could read the Latin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave was impressing us with his learning.
Dave,
bits.
I think that's a symbol of how old you are,
Pidgin
isn't it?
Norman
Yeah,
Latin.
Pidgin Norman
No,
Latin.
it's a symbol. It doesn't come from Essex like what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's,
Yeah.
it's
Us Essex
basically,
boys
it's
don't
basically
read
Norman's
Latin.
going, yeah, I understand Latin.
Yeah.
About as much as Dave
I'll wing
Saunders
it.
understands Latin.
2,000 years later, 1,000 years later, or something like that.
Hic in cook, blah blah
Yeah.
blah, etc.
Yeah. God, in fact, it's nearly 1,000 years old.
Oh god, yeah.
That thing's nearly 1,000 years old. How mad is that?
But it's just how it's survived.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
So
just
who's got the normal
astonishing.
wisdom stuff as well for the weekend?
Oh, I really wish I should have gone on Amazon and got a Norman Wisdom T-shirt delivered. Then I could have worn it and confused all the French people. But maybe that's the thing for tomorrow. So we'll reconvene tomorrow once we start playing Toy Soldiers.
This means war.
back in the Airbnb. We've just had the weirdest night.
Yes.
This has been weird. We just thought we'd have like a couple of beers and it'd be sort of quiet. And then we ended up in, it was supposed to be a craft beer pub that we found that was sort of about 10 minutes walk from our place. And it started off as we walked in, it was like a children's party.
We weren't sure, we thought it was closed, but they said no.
We did think it was closed.
The children's party in the back, and you can carry on drinking here anyway.
Yeah, have a drink anyway. And then we ordered what can only be described as a knob sausage. Saucisson. A very dry knob sausage, which you sliced up very well, Mike, despite your tales of previous accidents about slicing stuff.
No injuries, no blood.
No injuries, no
bones,
blood.
No nerves cut.
And we still managed to eat it all, and we did have some cheese. The French barman, I ordered the cheese and cold cuts plate, and he just like brought it out from underneath the bar, and I was like, gee whiz, that's quick. And he was like, I'm French. We always have cheese and cold cuts immediately to hand.
And then some random Frenchman started talking to us, and then bought us beers.
Yeah, we got a round off a Frenchman and 3 beers because he
worked at Fulham.
He'd worked at Fulham. He'd been the
training completist.
He'd been the fitness coach for Ababuka Kamara, known as AK-47, who was basically a hand grenade with no ball skills, who just like run into the middle of the, he was a striker who was just, stuff would bounce off him and chaos ensued. And this guy brought us around.
Anyway, if Abu
Bakr Kamara,
AK-47, if he was anything as mad as his trainer.
Oh God, insane.
His trainer was off his trolley.
He was completely off his trolley. It was only about 10 o'clock. Mates. They were all off their mat. And they came in with their own beatbox.
It was a bar because the guys were drinking, the women were dancing.
Yeah. Like what?
It was the 70s.
Anyway, if you're in
Le Havre.
I would recommend.
We would absolutely recommend
a night out. Bring your own balloons.
Yeah.
Kids are welcome.
Small children.
They had great Darth Vader murals on the wall.
Yeah.
Darth Vader murals that
dancing around handbags is de rigueur.
Yeah, exactly.
De rigueur.
Yeah. It's very foreign, de rigueur.
De rigueur. Yeah. And it was just.
And some quite decent cheese, apart from that sort of one that tasted like curry that was orange.
I like that.
It had its moments.
We were trying to compare.
I'm sure I'm going to regret it in the morning.
We were trying to compare Le Havre with. We started with Southampton.
Yeah.
And then we sort of moved on to Tynemouth.
Tynemouth.
And then we sort of became Liverpool. No, Le Havre has its own separate, completely weird culture.
Totally weird culture.
It's kind of good.
Yeah. But then we've actually been in a suburb of Le Havre, through a tunnel, up a mountain, with its own comedy train.
To a bar called the Voltigeur.
The Voltigeur was the bar next to the venue was called the Voltigeur. And there's next to the venue. We didn't go to bed.
We didn't go into it, did we?
By the railway
Tomorrow
station.
is the weekend is still young.
We might have to rush off at lunchtime.
Yeah, and have a swift half in the Voltigeur.
We just
so
have
to
to
speak.
tell all the French players. No.
You can't go to the Voltigeur because that's Napoleonic. You don't understand Napoleonic too.
No, it's minor detail. I understand bars. It'll be good. But then there's like a weird little train that comes here and back.
That's the main line French SNCF.
No, but it just goes to Montvilliers and Le Havre and one other place. And there's only one carriage, but it goes every like 15 minutes. It's like a shuttle.
On strike.
Unless it's on strike, which it could be at any time.
Judging by the rubbish,
Yes.
on the streets here, there's a lot of people on strike.
Yeah.
Well, the rubbish people are definitely not working, are they?
I don't know. France is always full of rubbish, isn't it? So to speak. That's sort of the way it works. But Mike, you're probably doing the best of all of us because you've got 2 wins and a null.
2 wins and a draw.
Yeah.
Following my advance on Palermo.
Yeah. You've landed Operation Husky.
I did not retreat. I advanced on Palermo.
Mm. So is this Operation Husky in terms of wherever it's called, or is that a different war?
That was different.
Different war. Sorry.
They crossed water.
Okay, different war. Okay, good. And what have you played with, and what have you played against?
I played a Scots Isles and Highlands.
Oh,
and I played the Community Italian.
And what have you got? You've got a
Sicilian Norman,
which is basically shitloads of nights and almost an outhouse.
I've got 11 nights.
Good number.
I've got I changed one knight to a heavy cavalry so I can chase off skirmishing heavy cavalry.
Okay.
And I've got lights. Oh, I've
And
got
that's
one
it.
spearman to cover my flanks.
Well, one spearman is enough, really, isn't it? If
One,
you do it
one
properly.
mediocre spearman.
Okay, mediocre. Good. Okay.
So basically, the army is
So how do you beat Scots, Isles and Hinds? Because that's surely like heavy infantry with.
it's heavy, which is heavy
Yeah.
artillery.
A dos manos, as
and
we say in Spain.
mediums.
Yep.
I got myself as shoulder as I could, in as straight a line as I could.
Just attacked.
And it's, on y va.
On y va, c'est la vie. Yeah.
So the Scots Highlanders and blah 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 with 32 longbowmen.
No,
No,
that's
that was
different.
the-
That's
that was-
that's
that
round
was-
three.
okay,
Well,
Welsh.
not round three, Dave. What about your round one?
So
Round one, I got a mutual destruction.
Yes.
That was good. It was good. It was good.
Great result.
It's a very nice French guy,
Mhm.
and that was all right. I was happy with that with the Vikings because I bought a
The
rubbish army to
Vikingios, I think you've
and
got to call them here.
then I got a win.
Yeah.
How do
Do you remember who you played second round, or was the cheese done for you?
Sicilian.
Might have been Sicilian.
Yeah, it was Sicilian.
Yeah. Okay.
Sicilian Norman.
Yeah. And Mike, what was your
We
second?
muscled up, grinned and bared it, took the strike, and
Ground them down.
we went through the middle,
Okay.
which was kind of good.
And what about you, Mike, in your second game?
my second game was, that was my Italian. I played Italian community Italian.
The one that I played in
The
the
one with
first
the
game.
war
Yeah,
wagons?
yeah.
He was very confident he was going to win.
Mhm.
And then I redeployed my whole army, and I used my lights, and it was bloody hard work. But at the last turn, he thought he could hang on, and he didn't.
He didn't, yeah, because he's the guy who beat me in the first round with the 3 Plaustrello wagons, sort of stuff
He
like
played
that.
it very. He kept. the
He's
army
a
very-
solid player.
He was very solid. I had lots more lights than him, and he kept solid, so I couldn't really use my lights
Yeah.
around the outside.
Yep.
But I used them quite well in the middle, and he was
Yep.
quite impressed with the way I used them in the middle to stuff
Yeah.
his army up.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
then he charged me with a war wagon, and one of my light cavalry stood. And he sort of looked quite shocked, but it made his knights break into a couple of
it's
groups.
it conformed and it knocked people out
Exactly.
of place.
He was, oh dear.
Yeah.
And then we both forgot because he wanted to try and move a knight into a flank.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure you got the gap. And then we suddenly realised he couldn't move because he had to make space for the war wagon to perform.
okay,
So we both realised we were breaking the rules.
Okay, that's good.
Which is
yeah.
good because we both
Yeah.
realised it at the same
Yeah.
time.
No, I did the same, not quite in that sort of level of detail, but I was trying to pull his knights forwards and leave his war wagons and spears sort of behind and
That was scary.
and extract, make his army spread out more than it wanted to. But he was really a controlled player and he
Yeah.
really didn't give the flanks away at all.
I
He
had
a
more
real
lights than
tough
him. He
hold.
did not give me any flanks. I had to
No.
use my lights to stuff
Yeah.
up the middle, and it was not easy.
How many
But
knights
that's
did you
actually
have?
one of the great things about the game. It's like if you don't give away flanks, it sort of works. It's quite hard.
He had 8 impetuous knights,
Yeah.
8 impetuous elites,
Yes.
same as me,
Mhm.
Yes.
and he had 2 impacts.
Mm.
I had 8 impetuous
So-
elite and 3 impacts.
Yeah,
And
so it's
you,
nip and tuck,
used,
isn't
you
it?
used the war wagons on the flanks.
Yeah.
No, he had some.
No, you put the war wagons down the middle. With
He had a couple of. He had one war gun covering the flank, and
Yeah.
a couple of war guns in the middle. But he also didn't let me stuff up his knights by having them on the end because he had spears at the end. So I
Yeah.
couldn't pin. Because my original plan would be normally pin some knights at the end of the line.
Yeah.
And stop them coming forward.
Yeah, and then just break the whole
break the
formation
whole
up.
up. But he wouldn't let me
a
do that 'cause he had
Viking
some-
army, as long as it grins and bears against the knights, will destroy his war wagons
But then
and
he's got.
take out his bowmen.
He had quite a few spear mediocre.
He didn't have any
So he had
bows.
knights.
Spearmen,
He didn't have
against.
bones. Oh yeah,
no,
you
he's
take
got
out.
spearmen. So,
Yeah, you'd be a nightmare opponent for
Oh,
him. You'd
yes,
be a nightmare
please.
opponent
Yes,
for him.
He
please.
had he had a group of 4 knights. Then he had a command of spear mediocre and war wagons.
Yep, with
Then
4
he had
knights.
Then he had 4 knights.
No, he had
That's
4 knights
cheering,
with the
that.
spearmen and
That's-
war wagons.
That's my.
He had 4
dream.
knights,
I
and then
dream
he
of
had 2
that
knights
sort of
and the
thing.
papal
Because he had a
spear.
Sicilian Norman ally, Sicilian Kingdom of Sicily, sorry,
Yeah.
ally, which caught me out a bit. Which was daft because I knew I sort of half knew what he played Tim with,
Yeah,
but then I looked at the list and it didn't have 8
Yeah.
knights elite, and I was confused.
yeah. No, it's all. He completely toasted me. I didn't draw him apart, and I really didn't have the rub of the green. But then in my second game, because I was like sort of down the bottom of the pile, I ended up facing a Komnenon Byzantine one, which was a
It's pretty
lot.
rubbish, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't have elite knights. It had 8 or 10 or something ordinary knights and some medium
quite a
cavalry
lot of
bow,
light foot
a lot of light foot stuff. So my army just managed to swing over to one side and crunch half of it.
I really resent paying that many points for
impact troop, and then not being able to buy elites.
Yeah, if you can't buy elite, that's a tough thing.
If I'm going to pay 12
Yeah.
points for a figure, I want
Yeah.
2 more, and I want elite.
But it was pretty gentle because we had quite a long lunch break after the game 1 and 2. Those slices of ham were like
They were
bigger.
ginormous.
They were bigger than your face, weren't they? Really?
Well, I was trying to cut them in half and help
No.
the French guy next to me to
No.
hold it in place while he took a half of a slice
Oh.
of ham.
God.
But it was difficult because you kind of ended up with double stacked
Half
slices of ham.
But I'm starting to think this
But
whole
the terrain
pork
was
thing.
beautiful.
The whole
terrain was
pork.
very nice.
Oh God, there were 2 different
The terrain was
terrain.
nice.
There's a lot of eggs, a lot of boiled eggs.
A lot of boiled eggs. You had 3 boiled eggs.
I love boiled eggs.
And you're not coming in my car later on. This is not happening unless we keep the back windows
I'm not
open.
coming in your car at all.
So to speak, that's a minor detail.
And we
Very
met
good.
Dave from
We
Limoges.
met Dave from Limoges, yeah.
Another Dave.
Another Dave,
Yes,
an
another
English Dave, yeah.
Who knows our Dave?
Yes.
Alan.
He's
that
played.
is.
He's seen Dave Allen at other competitions.
Which is
but-
interesting. And
Yeah.
he used to work in the railways.
Exactly,
like
but he's
Dave
not blagged the
Allen,
freebie shit
yeah.
that Dave Allen's got. No.
But he lives in the middle of nowhere.
He does,
He
indeed.
does. He lives
So,
in the middle of nowhere.
if anybody's listening to this is actually
Well,
that sentence ends there, doesn't it? If anybody is listening to this, but if anybody's listening to this and wants to play Art de la Guerre online,
Get in touch.
and we can put you in touch with Dave.
Yeah, we'll put him in.
Yeah,
the middle of nowhere.
in Limoges with his
And
fields of
hopefully
cows.
We'll put him in touch with Hubert.
Anyone. Oh,
Barry.
anyone.
Or if you don't want a
Barry.
game, you just do us guys talking shit.
Yeah, you can listen to us. But if you want to play someone online at Tabletop Simulator, and we're
he
all
might be able to give you some nice
Yeah.
organic vegetables.
Organic vegetables and
As
organic
an
cheese.
alternative.
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh no, sorry, meat. It's all the cows there are slaughtered for meat.
And I think
There's
there's a
nothing-
lot of goat cheese.
Goat cheese.
Yeah,
Goat
yeah,
cheese is
goat
good.
cheese.
It's good. But then we had quite a lot of lunch, and I was particularly impressed by the fact the coleslaw had pork in it. And you just go, maybe that pork knuckle that I had the previous night was just.
I've had to
Pork
share the
knuckle,
pork knuckle.
that pork knuckle was the biggest
Oh my God,
lump
it
of
was
meat I've seen
enormous.
in my life.
I ran out of capability to eat meat, and then both of you basically had a steak and
Yeah,
then had
only
another
marginal,
pork.
only marginal.
You had a little bit, but Mike, you had 2 steaks, and one of them was the leftovers of my pork knuckle, so
That
to
was
speak.
huge.
It was insane.
I've done
Absolutely
my
insane.
decade
A
quota of steak au poivre
Steak au poivre.
because I like steak au poivre, particularly
Don't
bavette.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Skirt.
Yep.
I like a bit of skirt,
Yep.
but that's it. That's my.
Maybe tomorrow night when we're in Cannes,
No,
we're not going to go steak au
I'm not
poivre. It's
going to
not
steak
happening.
au
We've got to
poivre
find
unless they have Dauphin potatoes.
If they're dauphinoise potatoes.
Dauphin is
Yeah, that's
part
true.
of the deal.
Yeah.
They didn't bring the camembert out till quite late this afternoon.
Well, it's got to mature.
Got to
hasn't
mature.
It? It's got to mature, and then slices of Normandy tart, so to speak.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, we try to find
We've
between
got tart
tart normand and tart tartan.
Yeah.
But we didn't say tart
No, we
normand has
did-
almond.
No,
It's-
we now, we
no,
now know
Calvados.
the difference.
Calvados.
Calvados.
The
Calvados,
difference
of
is
course
the
it does.
Calvados.
It's the Calvados. Poor
It's
Calvados.
just so obvious when you think
when you think
about
of it, and the it's tart tartan with Calvados.
And I'm very tempted by the offer of some contraband home-brewed Calvados.
Oh my god! Yeah, well we can sneak it back because we're not flying. We're on the ferry, so that's all good. So
Who's got that then?
What are the local guys?
yeah.
Got some home-brewed Calvados.
I have some Calvados for you, monsieur. You and there's a table.
Sounds like blinding.
Sur la table, is it?
It sounds like-
Au-dessus de la
It's like-
table.
No, he told me it was good stuff.
Yeah, I've
Good
heard
stuff,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Clip.
Was he the one with the really thick glasses? Is it who looked about 26? Yeah, that was it.
No one there looked 26.
No one there looked 26.
We're wargamers. No
We're
one.
all going, no one at all looks 26.
T-Bar was the youngest.
Yeah, he was. That's
But
it.
no one looks
Father's
26.
round the bend.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Serge's quiet.
He's a character, isn't he? My God, that was a
Yeah.
thing and a half. Yeah. And then,
Bad memories of some nights
No.
with Serge.
oh God.
Bad memories.
But we did have.
Nancy and other places. Bad memories.
But
I
we
played
had, we had,
Hello,
first
Julian.
game, it was good, it was really good.
oh, hello, Julian. But we did have a lot of lunch, and then we had another game, and then we had a third game, and we didn't actually get finished till about 7:30. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
but Julian would be really pleased with the blitzing rules,
Oh,
which are
everybody-
not happening at all.
everybody had blitz.
Not happening at all.
So third game, Mike, you ended up playing on a 2 foot wide table or something bizarre.
I played this Welsh army that ran into the woods. So my strategist cleared half the table, but he put his own in the other half of the table.
Okay, and they literally, it was like Napoleonic naval. They cut your
They,
tea. or
they
something.
crossed my tea.
They crossed
my
your
tea.
tea.
And I ran away.
You
no,
ran away?
sorry, I did not. I
No.
advanced on Palermo.
You advanced on
You
Palermo,
ran
which was
away
off
with
table at the time.
Impetuous Knights.
No, I advanced on Palermo.
Yeah,
It
advanced
was
on
an
Palermo.
advance. I did not retreat.
Yeah.
Oh, your knights aren't impetuous.
They are impetuous.
Yeah, but they're not when they're going the other way.
But they advanced on Palermo.
I see,
So
right, okay.
if there'd been
We went
another
backwards.
2 hours or an hour and another hour maybe, you would have had no table left at all.
Oh,
Oh,
he was a good millimetre short of my baggage.
good millimetre short of the bag.
At least half a millimetre to a millimetre
Half
short.
minute too. Oh.
Patrick and me measured it. We measured it a second time. We measured it a third time. And
was
every time we
still-
measured it, he was still about at least half a millimetre
Half a
short of my
millimetre.
baggage.
Okay, right, okay.
And we knew there was no more chance for more than one more turn.
No more turns.
So one of us smiled and one didn't.
Oh no. Dave, you had so you had a win and a mutual in the first two, innit?
Started with the mutual deflection.
Yeah.
The mutual destruction.
Yeah.
Against Thibaut. Very nice. Very nice guy. Which was good fun. It was good fun. I thought I was losing, then I thought I was winning, then I thought I was losing, then I was winning. And it was a mutual, which is always good fun. He
Yeah.
was very pleased with the results. Second game, I played a guy who started with telling me he spoke no English, and I tried to explain I spoke fuck all French, and we had a really good game.
Yeah.
We had a really good game. I won that one because the Vikings couldn't have bet it, and then the last game was nonsense. Me chasing thematic Byzantines.
Just skirmished away.
Yeah, so it was 14-13 draw.
Okay, long way off.
Yeah. That was fine. It was
Okay.
good. He played quite well.
Yeah.
There was no mug.
Good.
I was
good.
doing things. So
Yeah.
tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
I
We're
want this communal Italian.
We're all sort of mid-table, aren't we? In some. Oh, look, Mike, you were top table in game 3, but
Top table,
with a draw,
two
you're
wins and
probably
a slight losing
still
draw.
there and bust. I've got 2 wins and a loss because I won the third game, a Norman on Norman matchup, and in which my opponent had a lot of heavy foot and he stuck him next to the waterway on one flank, and I thought that's a waterway. There might be something I'm going to skirmish that off with Le Bretons. So he had about 40% of his army points that were playing about 15% of mine, and 85% of mine sort of ran over the rest of his army on the other side. So, but it's interesting going into, I don't know, I've seen some really unusual army designs, and you know, I've lost to one and beaten 2 of the others, but there's stuff that you think, that's, I could make that work.
That community Italian was very
Yeah.
interesting with all those 8 impetuous elite knights
Yeah.
and the war wagons and the spears. That
Yeah.
was bloody interesting.
Don't
Yeah.
tell
really-
Rafa will start.
I
getting
really had to work against that.
Yeah.
I had to work really hard. But I've played three good
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
The guys have all been good. I've played
Yeah.
against. I've really enjoyed the 3 games.
Yeah.
Well, apart from those I didn't win, of course, because you never enjoy the ones you don't win. But
No, but we enjoy them, Mike. You know, especially
That's
when
not
you're
right.
telling us.
That's
no,
what's
exactly.
important.
Especially when you're telling us over when you're slicing up a
It's
sausage.
the taking part and not winning.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
and the advancing on Palermo. Don't forget the
Advancing on
advancing on
Palermo.
Palermo.
Yeah, exactly, off the table. Yeah, indeed. No, it's been top, isn't it? And it's now, the really frightening thing is it's now half 11, which means it's half 12 because the clocks have changed. Or
Yeah.
le clocks avaient changé.
We were very good. We are gone home by half.
We're half past 12.
Very bad.
New Som's exhausted, and it's time for us to probably press the stop button and
Saplan
tell you all about this tomorrow, perhaps.
Saplan pour more.
Adaman.
Saplan Pommer, Adaman.
Adaman.
Oh, we're in a bar in Caen, I think. Caen?
Caen, yeah.
Caen. We've already seen a cathedral, which is pretty impressive. Abbey. And we've seen William the Conqueror's tomb,
Where he's not inside.
where he's not inside, just one of his leg bones is, just his thighs. But there were some other thighs of other saints there as well,
There were.
which was a bit gruesome. St. Clements, I think.
Some other ones.
And oranges and lemons.
Yeah.
Go the thigh bones of St. Clements.
They had little scrolls on them.
Yeah, which saint they were.
They all finished with .m. Do you want to work out what the .m meant at the end?
Yeah, it could be
Local.
Monsieur le Saint.
Could be.
Anything like that. And
Like the cat in Tom and Jerry.
it could be. and we're on a pint each of Colomba, which is a blonde, slightly cloudy beer with a lemony.
It's supposed to be Blanche, isn't it?
Blanche. Oh, Blanche. Okay.
Wheat beer.
Okay, it's a slightly wheaty beer then.
It's sort of like the Dutch do a white beer, which is a bit
Which is not as white as
that gives you one fuck of a fucking hangover.
Almost a but Radler's the non-alcoholic one with lemon, isn't it? Which is much nicer, but that's different. And we're sat here with not William the Conqueror, but Mickey Bennett le Conqueror, which we're going to have to change your name now to Monsieur Bennett le Conqueror.
Leroy de Normandy.
Leroy de Normandy, yeah. Hopefully you won't end up just your thigh bone buried and desecrated in the French Wars of Religion.
The rest of your bones scattered by the French Revolution.
Jacobins.
Well, they did finish by killing the Normans.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Yeah, indeed. So this morning, same breakfast really, wasn't it? Same coffee, same croissants.
I can't remember. Oh, it was. The croissants were really good.
How many croissants do you get through?
I went one.
I had two.
I only had one.
You had one.
I didn't really take two. They were nice.
No. Yeah, I did go
They
back.
were good.
They were really good. Yeah.
They're a proper croissant.
Lovely burnt bits on top of it, which is good.
I like the burnt bits.
Yeah. Same lunch, same pork-based.
Pate was good.
Good pate.
If we do get to a supermarket, I might have to take some pate now.
Yeah, could have some pate.
If we could get some of that.
Yeah.
It was from Intermarché.
Okay.
I went and checked the wrapper. It was so good.
Okay.
I went over and looked at the grease-proof paper.
Yeah,
to
you're
find out
going to get a
where
kilo
they
of it or
got
something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spread it as large, yes, amongst my friends.
Well, I think we've seen quite a few Intermarchés, and we've got 350 kilometres left in the tank of diesel, and it's only 150 kilometres back to the port, so we can probably go pate hunting
Take us to your pate.
Take us to your pate or something like that. But yeah, so we had breakfast and we had lunch as well, and in between that we had some games.
Yep.
And Mr. Bennett, you came out on top.
Came out on top.
So you were in yesterday with, what was it, a draw and
I had 2 wins, and then I had a draw with Patrick where his longbowman ran into the bad terrain.
Yeah.
So then I turned around and advanced on Palermo.
Yes, indeed.
And ran like a girl for
Ran
the
like
last
a girl.
20
yeah,
minutes.
Indeed. And I did just look back and realise that we did record about 20 minutes of nonsense when we got back from the pub last night in the flat, which I can barely remember. But so we might already have talked about that. I don't remember.
There's been a lot going on.
There's been an awful lot going on. And so your path to victory today. Talk us through the morning, Mike.
My opponent put down a lot of bad terrain, did a flank march, and he had a load of armoured Anglo-Saxon spears, which was very bad news. So I rode up to them, rode high dice, and rode through them.
Okay, that's good.
Did a bit of clever manoeuvring out on one end because he wasn't quite covering it, but basically slightly clever and very lucky.
Very lucky, that's good. Okay. And then after lunch, I you had a really easy game.
I got a really easy game.
Yeah.
Got some Normans.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
And
yeah.
rode through them.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. In fact,
Who's were they then?
I think they might have been mine. To be
Oh,
honest.
no, really?
But,
He rolled. I made some of these Norman knights impetuous. He rolled, so he had to charge, and then he rolled long, so he had to charge a long way and outrun his supports.
yeah.
So he's already in a bit of trouble because
that's
three
not nice.
three of my fights were one up because I had a general in one, and I had flanks.
Yep.
So I'd got a bit of an advantage.
Yep.
But then rolled high dice and converted a bit of advantage into a very big advantage.
Yeah.
And you got the chance to rally up everything.
Oh no, there was no rallying up.
Who
There
needs
was
to
no
do
need
that?
to rally
You
up.
need to bother
Actually,
about
no, one
that.
of them got hit,
I
didn't
think
they?
one got hit.
One
yeah,
got hit.
One got hit. The general got hit to me, I think.
The general got hit later on. The general got hit later on.
Yeah. And I think it was one of those ones where, I did a hit on your general against the odds, and then rolled to kill him and rolled one of my few sixes of the game.
And then I had these knights, 2 were in overlap and 1 wasn't, facing 3 spearmen. So the one in the middle was going to charge one of those spearmen. So do I just put the whole 3 in?
Yeah.
I did, and all 3 I think. Two out of the 3
2
won.
out of 3 you won.
And then
yeah.
one hero fighting a spearman to the front and knight to the flank.
Yep.
Didn't die for about 4 turns.
4 turns. Knights in the flank, spearmen in the front. Dropped
Always.
I was only about 4 factors down, so you wouldn't expect him to die, would you?
Yeah, 6-1, 5-1, armour elite as well. And
The Armour Elite was used both times.
But to be fair though, we finished the game so quickly that I actually managed to write the text for the battle report before the final game's record time, because there is these games go on quite a long time because they do.
Was that the last game?
That was the
I'm not
last
saying
game,
he was
yeah.
desperate, but he threw spearmen, and then he threw an injured bowman into spearmen.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I was going, this is going down. I'm just going for points
Just
here.
try and get some.
just
And
all
William the
go.
Conqueror went into hand to hand.
Yeah, last round I had William the Conqueror, the strategist, in hand to hand. So
Because the last bound was Mike only
Already
needs
gone.
one, and
now
there's a waggy flank he's about to turn a knight into. So
no,
that
I
one.
think it had already gone in shooting or something, hadn't it? I think
Well, no, it was
something. Yeah.
It was one
already
off.
gone.
He rallied one back,
Yeah.
but there was a bowman sitting there with a knight on his flank, so I had to turn the thing, and that was the one I needed.
Yeah, it
but then
was gone.
he rallied
It was
one
gone.
back, so I shot
Yeah.
the one.
So at that point you could have broken off.
No, not at all. No. So Mike's the king of Normandy, and then we did
Who came second?
some other French people. possibly.
Patrick's opponent came second, and
Oh,
then
that's
Patrick
right,
came
Max.
third.
Max.
Max came
Max
second,
is
and
a
Patrick
nice
came
guy.
Maxime
third.
Pichot, yeah, top
He's
lad.
come to Rouen
Oh yeah, I've
once.
met him. Yeah,
He's a nice
I
guy.
know Max. Yeah, that was good.
And the guy, we should have a big shout out to the guy who painted the figures and the trophies.
The trophies are really good.
Everybody got a 28mm figure
And
painted,
some beer.
and some beer.
I think they must
and
have
a
shared the
glass.
trophy. The way he said, I'm not sure if I painted that one, so I think they must have shared the painting of the figure, the prizes across the whole club, I suspect.
But still, it was a
Each
great
did one,
result.
but they are
result.
great.
Yeah,
They're really nice.
I got one with a guy
Really
carrying the Hubert Hoberg
Hamburg armour.
on,
Yeah,
on a pile, or two guys carry it between them.
Yeah, that's it.
Halberg.
Hamburg. Yeah, not a Hubert.
No.
You
So I
don't
got-
want a Hubert on a pole.
Hubert Halberg.
You don't want to be carrying a Hubert
Three
on
or
a pole.
four figures, two of them carrying Hoberg and another guy. And
Yeah, and then everybody kind of stayed around for a while, and then we schlepped it out to Caen, and we're in
And we met Dave.
Dave.
Diesel Dave, is it?
Diesel Dave.
Yeah,
Diesel Dave from Deepest, Darkest Friends. Hello, Diesel Dave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big shout to him.
Big
He's
shout
very
to him.
nice.
Top lad. Yeah, absolutely.
Lives a long, long way from everybody
Everything.
else.
Yes.
7 hours from here, did you say?
Yeah.
Couldn't quite work out how far. He just lives a very long way from everywhere.
Surrounded by cows. But,
Yes, cows. Limousine cows.
Limousine cows. Limousine cows.
Limousines.
No, limousine cows.
You take them
They have
to
their special
parties.
They have special chauffeurs.
Cow chauffeurs. And so no, but we're in Caen.
They're for eating, not for milking.
Exactly, true. But but they still smell. But we're in Caen now, in a very cute little hotel with lovely wooden stairs, and we've meandered into town on a Sunday night, which is French for Sunday is French for it's all shut.
No.
Really. Fermé.
Fermé
Nothing is
la
open. But
Not.
But we have found this bar that we're in just at it's 7:10, so that
kind
is.
of restaurant open.
Is it 10:07 or is it 10:00?
10:07, yeah.
It is.
11 minutes past 7. Yeah.
I did put my clock forward.
It is restaurant opening time.
Yeah, restaurants. will be open.
Luckily, Tim's got a mechanical watch, so when your watch, we were all
Yeah.
wondering whether our watches had reset. We could check whether what time against Tim's, and we knew his hadn't, so we
Exactly.
knew ours had all done it automatically.
Yeah, clock's changing. So we're going to see if we can force feed Dave some more meat and chips tonight, or whether he's just going to explode.
I feel like I need vegetables.
Yes, possibly vegetables. We'll see if it's
Actually, yes,
foreign
we
food.
haven't had vegetables, have we?
No, look, there was some in-
that
there
was
tiny
some-
bit of leek.
There was some in the ham coleslaw, I think.
I would call that vegetable.
There was some raisins in the couscous.
I didn't get as far as the quiz.
No, you wouldn't have a couscous. That'd be weird, unless you're using the Berber army. There's no way you're having that.
2 steaks.
Yeah,
I managed to limit it to 2 steaks and
yeah.
half a fucking round of pate.
Well, Tim had about 3 or 4.
No, you did.
pork
Yeah,
servings on.
you ducked the pork knuckle, but you had half of my pork knuckle, so to speak.
That was just outrageous.
And then we
I
did
have
have.
seen worse pork knuckles than that, though. In
Yeah,
Warsaw, but that's
yeah,
another story.
But we did also have the knob sausage last night as well.
Oh, God, yeah,
which has gone viral on social media, I believe, possibly. So it's been a cracking weekend, really.
Yeah.
And we've still got a day to go.
Yeah.
Back on the ferry. There may well be a ferry recording if we manage to find any more.
Museum of the dernier bataille de Normandy.
My God, it's almost like there's a French person at the table.
It's just outside Caen.
Okay.
And it's right by Falaise.
Ah, near the pocket.
So
Okay.
I suspect this might be something interesting.
Yeah.
No.
So we could go to the Falaise pocket.
Yeah. And
Possibly.
There's a little strange little machine thing.
Is there a thing about the Battle of Rouen there?
I've no idea. Rory.
Rory,
The one at the
possibly.
Pegasus Bridge was good, wasn't it? You could press the buttons, it lit up and showed you.
That was quite good.
That was pretty good. I was very impressed with that.
Okay. So is there a Sherman tank at this museum, Dave?
No, it doesn't look like the swimmers at this. There is something.
There must be. That's mandatory, isn't
There's
it?
me-
There's
There's
another
never
one
been
of
made, wasn't there?
aeroplanes.
Sure.
They've got a Typhoon.
I looked
Spitfire.
at
But they've
that
also got an
museum.
experience where you can get into one of those B-29,
Ooh.
B-20.
No, turrets or something.
Yeah, the ones that hang out,
Underneath.
the little ball things. It's called the Bomber Turret Experience for €10. Maybe they just spin you round until you get sick.
Yes,
something
indeed.
like that.
And you've got like a 40% chance of not coming back out of it.
So if you want the whole thing, the Spitfire experience is €10, the Typhoon experience is €10, the bomber turret views, the anti-aircraft views is a bargain at €5.
Well,
And the C-47 Dakota is a bargain at £5.
and they push you out. They just
can
push
have
you
a
out.
full experience ticket for €29.
Wow. Okay.
It's everything.
Well, we could go for
You get the full experience for a lot less than €29 in
And
Thailand.
then there's
Yes, I
also
think
the,
so.
the Maisie, as opposed to the Daisy battery.
The Maisie battery. Okay.
Which is insane. But I reckon the Le Deux Bataille de Normandy.
Okay. That could be it. So we could be.
Because after listening to your podcast, guys,
Yeah.
they say you can't just go to the beaches. You have to go
Yeah.
to battles.
You've got to go back beyond. Yeah.
It went on for longer than
That's
the
true.
first day.
Because
The
we have
longest
been
day.
driving around listening to We Have Ways podcast with Al Murray and James
We've learned
Holland.
something.
Well, actually, I wasn't.
No, you weren't. You were asleep.
asleep.
Yeah. Which is obviously a great reflection on how interesting it is to play me.
We were thinking about waiting for you to fall asleep and then doing the podcast.
Mike, what do you say?
I snored through it, yeah.
Exactly. That
So,
could be it.
how did that go?
Yeah, that could be it. Well, look, I think we've got to finish these beers and move on. So we'll come back to you tomorrow.
This means war. This means war.
Okay, and folks, well, this is sort of the. Oh, excuse me,
Daisy.
drops it. This is sort of the end of the podcast, I believe, or should be. This should be the last and final session, as we're sat in a car ferry waiting to get off. We're actually quite lucky we even got on at all. There was a strike in France. Turns out, we finally got stopped by a strike just as we were about to get on the ferry. Looks like fishermen have pension rights too over here, which is a bit mad. And they were over there, sorry. And they were blocking the ferry, but we're now just waiting to get off. And we've done our final day. We've gone from, in fact, last night when we talked in the bar, we were about to go and have a galette.
Try not to have to eat meat again.
Yes, exactly. Did you succeed?
I did have some
Meat.
No, actually, I think it was just cheese and potato. And
Cheese and potato?
no, I think there was meat.
There was ham.
There was
There was
ham.
always
There
ham.
was
There was always ham.
It was yeah. It's
Yeah.
not as bad as Spain, but it's
No,
not
but there
far
was some
off.
more ham on in it, and or jam.
It was the first time I've ever had a galette.
galette, yeah,
I've never
galette.
had that before.
No, it's excellent.
It's good.
And we did-
and with Calvados.
Calvados, and we had double galette. We had galette
Yep.
dessert
Yes.
and galette main course, which was
Yes.
spectacular. And Calvados, which personally I thought was a bit horrible. Actually, I'm not sure it's a spirit I would have again. It wasn't as peary or appley as I thought it would be.
No, it's quite astringent, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
a bit
quite
like
sort of-
cleaning fluid.
Yeah, it's like cleaning fluid mixed with brandy or something like that. So
I don't know, I quite like it, but I wouldn't drink it all the time.
again, possibly. And
But it certainly helped me sleep last night, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Calm Castle. Thoughts on
this
Calm
morning.
Castle?
That's pretty good, wasn't it? Yeah, surprising to see it in the middle of the city.
Yeah, it's a big old castle. Like, you'd think it'd be more of a tourist thing,
Yep.
really, for
But
geeky
it's
war games.
very much a Motte Bailey.
Yeah,
It reminded me of the Tower of London, actually.
yeah. Well, I suppose the same
Very
model.
similar, very similar.
the
Very
original-
Norman.
And even though it's not there anymore, the castle keep was once 30 metres high,
With a very, very deep, another 10
with a
metre
very deep 10 metre
boat.
moat as well.
Yeah, that was pretty sudden, that moat, wasn't it? Just
Yeah.
suddenly walked, so.
Just right in the
You
middle
wouldn't want
of
to
it.
attack that.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And
And
they
then,
levelled it in the 1400s to build an artillery platform on top.
oh right.
So they
Okay.
levelled the top of it to build on.
Well, everything got like levelled in the Wars of Religion, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Basically,
it's-
everything we went to had been rebuilt after the Wars
It
of
seems
Religion.
that during the Wars of Religion, they really didn't like William the Conqueror for some
No.
reason.
They were like-
They dug him up, threw
Dug
his
him.
bodies all over the
Yeah.
shop,
Yes.
and then knocked down his castle.
No, just trashed the whole bloody lot, really.
So
didn't it?
what was it that he quite pissed him
Yeah.
off about? I'm not sure.
Was he? No, I can't have been a Catholic or whatever. They'd not invented that difference back then, had they? I can't remember unless he was a
No,
papist.
definitely not. No.
I don't know. And then we went from there to Rouen,
Rouen.
where we couldn't find any Joan of Arc stuff because we were expecting.
Well,
a
we did in the
cathedral.
end, but
And then we didn't because
we
they
stood on it without knowing it.
Yeah, exactly. They built this mad cathedral in the marketplace where she got burnt at the stake.
So there's the cathedral proper first, which
Yeah.
of course being Monday was closed.
Shut. Everything was shut. Yeah.
And then there were the weird architect students outside
Yes.
on
They were on
strike.
strike. Yeah.
But I thought like their sort of like association with Rouen Cathedral was very tentative.
Very tenuous.
tentative.
Very tenuous indeed.
But it's a shame we couldn't get inside. But the outside was distinctly,
Super gothic, wasn't it?
It was distinctly sort of wedding cake,
Oh, God, it was
crystalline.
mental. It was all over the
The
place.
amount of carving on there, I've never seen quite so many layers of carving at the
It
doorway.
kind
as
of
well.
reminded me of Granada and the Alhambra with all the stucco that the
Yeah.
Muslims did.
But this was carving, wasn't
which
it?
they'd
So-
obviously bought back from.
Yeah.
I reckon that was probably bought back from Sicily, sort
Yeah.
of thing, with all that sort of
that
stucco
sort of style.
effect.
Yeah.
But intricate beyond
Yeah,
belief.
exactly.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. And then
The Market Square,
Market Square.
where we kind of knew that Joan of Arc was burnt.
Yeah. But there wasn't like a plaque on the floor where they
No, or a
put the stake
statue.
around.
I thought there might be a
Do you
statue.
think there
or
a
something.
statue of like her
Of
being burnt, really?
A
wouldn't
burning
you?
witch. Sort
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly, sort of witch-based
That's a
statue.
bit naughty for the
No, that would
English
have
to
been
say
iffy,
that.
wouldn't it? True.
But then we realised that the church of
yeah.
Jeanne d'Arc, the
Yeah.
Saint
Yeah.
Jeanne d'Arc, is actually where they burnt her.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
They built a
makes
church.
sense, really,
It
doesn't
really
it,
does.
when you think about it?
But they have made part of it into an outdoor hipster market as well, haven't they? But it was closed because
Yeah.
it was Monday.
But the old town was pretty beautiful.
Yeah, there was a
with
lot
all
of
the
old town
wattle
in
and
it.
daub.
Yeah, a lot of that. And then we went on. Did we go anywhere? No. Where was we going to? To
We
here.
got back on the road to
We
Dieppe.
got back on the road, came to Dieppe, did some shopping. We will report on whether the cheap booze that we bought is any good at another
car-
time.
the
But
car-
the cheese is definitely very smelly.
The cheese stinks. Oh
We-
God.
We had lunch in Dieppe, we got back in the car and all you could smell was the
Cheese.
cheese.
It
The
had
first thing I had to tell you was, oh, it's a bit musty in the
Yes,
car.
it did.
We just went, no, it's the fucking
Oh, yeah.
cheese.
And we
in the
really
boot.
left the car for an
And
hour.
then I got out and walked round the back and the people behind me opened the window and said, it's the cheese, isn't it? Because that car was the same.
Yeah, we're basically on a ferry full of Brits whose cars stink of cheese because it's been a bit hot this afternoon. And yeah, the ferry's got away, avoided the strike, and now we're waiting to see if we can actually be allowed back into the
But
country.
we haven't mentioned the mall.
Oh, no,
Free.
malls.
So
Malls
we,
and
we
free.
didn't have meats today.
No, we
Have
missed
we had
it.
meat? Well, no, I haven't
Yeah,
had
we
any.
have.
I haven't had any meat.
Did you not?
ham
Did you not have any ham on the boat?
No, I didn't have any ham on the boat.
what,
and
you
I
just
didn't
had
have any
cheese?
ham for breakfast either. I had cheese
Okay.
for breakfast.
Okay.
So I'm feeling better for that, I think. I
You
don't
didn't
know.
have any
Free
pate
day.
to take home, did you either?
I bought pate.
Yeah, of course
Okay,
you bought
you did.
pate.
That's
yeah.
in the back of the car.
Yeah, I hope that smells as well when it
I
gets
think I
into
might
your
give that a
fridge.
couple of days before I start digging into that.
Yeah, yeah. So we're just waiting for the Rubik's Cube puzzle of how they've loaded this ferry to finish, and then we'll be on the M23 and back up to London, and normal life will be resumed. So, other than that, we will all reconvene at
Yeah.
roll call in a week or so. Yep.
With or without the cheese.
With or without the cheese, but probably still with the smell, I suspect. So on that smelly cheese note, we will we'll say good night, everybody. Good night.
Bye, good night.
Right. Hello and welcome to the latest Madaxeman.com Army List ADLG podcast, in which I'm joined by Rick